Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Meeple Marathon and our continued coverage of our half marathon to Halloween. Tonight we're going to be playing Arkham Horror 3rd edition from Fantasy Flight Games. This is very similar to what we played last night, Arkham Horror LCG, but this one is more of an action selection game than a card game, and we'll get into all that later. In my opinion, it's a very unique game. But so before we get started here, I just wanted to give you kind of a visual tour of everything that's on the table here, because it's kind of a table hog and it's going to be almost impossible to get everything into a single camera shot and you guys still be able to see what's going on. So what we have here in front of us right now is the main board. And you can see that this is divided up into neighborhoods. So we have Uptown, South Side, Rivertown, Miskatonic University, and the North Side. And then each neighborhood is divided up into 3 specific areas that you can visit. Certain areas have certain events that you may encounter. For example, at the magic shop, you could probably, in your encounter, pay money to gain a spell. Hangman's Hill here, you might have to use these 2 skill tests in order to either gain a weapon or a Remnant Token. Here at the hospital, you could pay money to heal some of your health. So anyways, we will be marching our characters around the board here. And so these are our 3 characters. Normally these are standees, but depending on what camera angle we go with here, I may just leave them flat if they're easier to see like that. Over here, I have my essentially all my tokens ready to go. And then here we have our event deck. So this event is specific to the scenario that we chose tonight, which is Veil of Twilight. We'll talk about that more in a second here. But essentially there is several cards for each neighborhood that is part of this scenario, all these neighborhoods out here, that are specific to events that are specific to the scenario. So we're going to be drawing them throughout the game and adding them to decks over here that represent those neighborhoods. And what's specific about the cards that are in this deck, the event deck, is that these are the clue cards. These have the opportunities on them to gain clues, which is how you advance in the game. When you draw one of these, you're going to take it and you're going to then take the top 2 cards of the matching neighborhood deck, shuffle it in to the top so you know that there's a clue within the next 3 encounters, essentially. Up here, we kind of have our market. We have item, ally, spells, and special cards. We also have our enemy deck there at the bottom. These 5 cards over here are considered the display. The display is an area of the market where 5 items are visible for you to purchase. And then we have our investigators here. So you can see that our investigators is very similar to Arkham Horror LCG. Each have specific trait values listed on the bottom there. And these guys also have specific items that they are starting with. For example, Norman Withers here gets to start with a spell and a Curio Item. He's essentially going to be our observer. He's going to be the one that can take the clues and pass them along onto the agenda cards and get the story moving. Michael Mcglenn here, he is kind of a mobster character. He's definitely our strong arm, and he'll be taking care of the monsters for the most part. You can see here his Chicago typewriter gives us +4 strength to an attack, and he's already at 4. So essentially in this game, when you are doing a skill test, the attribute number that you have is equal to the number of dice you're going to roll, and you have to roll a 5 or a 6 to be successful, which aren't great odds, but so the more dice you roll, the better. So rolling 8 dice is pretty amazing. And then last but not least, we have Dexter Drake here. He's a magician, and he was chosen for his high lore value. He also has a spell and a Curio Item, and he's essentially going to be helping us make sure that we keep our doom in check, which we'll talk about more as the game goes on. Lastly, a few things that I skipped over back here. We have our headlines deck, which has the newspapers on them, and our anomalies deck, which is right here. Anytime that Doom has taken over a neighborhood, we have to place an anomaly token on it, which would look like this. And instead of drawing a normal encounter, you would have to draw an anomaly encounter. And you pretty much want to get rid of anomalies as soon as they pop up on the board. So, here we have our scenario, which is the Veil of Twilight. In the cold void between worlds, something lurks. Beyond the veil, it whispers, reaching out for those with the power to free it from its prison. Those who fall into this thrall gain great power, but at a terrible price, and each day its freedom draws near. All right, so this tells us that we are starting at Ma's boarding house. It tells us what happens when the Reckoning token is drawn. And on the back, there was basically a lot of setup here, and I just realized that these additional tokens here, I still need to set out, so I'll do those in a second. But it tells us how to build our Mythos Cup, our monster deck, and our final setup. So the last thing we're going to do is get cards 2, 20, and 21 out of the deck, and we're going to take a look at those here. So here is 2, and you can see over here is my my Codex deck, and these cards are always kept in order so that I can pull them out. It's kind of hard to pull them out one-handed here, but there we go. You always want to keep them in order, and just look at the top numbers on the cards, and here we go. So these are how we are, the kind of the direction we're given now to solve the case. So let's start with anomalies. People walk with their heads down, shoulders hunched. With each new oddity, it becomes harder to pretend that nothing is wrong. But the vanishings, the strange lights, the sightings of inhuman creatures, they are not something to be ignored, or at least not for long. Okay, so when a space has 3 Doom or a neighborhood on it, or neighborhood has a total of 5 Doom, place an anomaly there. So this essentially, I believe this card comes out almost every time to play with, to tell you how to handle the anomalies. Then we have the Threshold. You have heard numerous rumors about people and animals acting strangely in Arkham. Each new description is eerily similar to the last. Not an hour has passed since you were attacked by a flock of crazed pigeons and forced to take cover in Ma's boarding house. Now that the flock has moved on, it's time to take it to the streets and figure out what's really happening in Arkham. So here we can, if there's a total of 2 or more tokens, either Doom or clues on the scenario sheet, flip this card. Okay. And then last but not least, lasting scars. The veil between the worlds grows thin. Something stirs beyond them, a presence lurking at the threshold of reality. Where it touches the world, it leaves a scar, a wound that reopens again and again. Left unchecked, these scars will tear the world apart. White markers are scars in the veil. After an anomaly appears, if there is not a scar in that neighborhood, place 1 scar in the space with the most Doom in that neighborhood. So, at this point, now that you guys have been given a visual tour of the play space, I am going to go ahead and set the camera up, and we will get started with a brief introduction on how to play the game. Okay, so for now, we're just going to focus on this area of the board, and we will zoom out if we ever need to take a look at the north side. One thing that I did fail to cover is our Mythos Cup is this bag here. So a specific number of tokens were placed into the bag, and I'll explain what you do with these when the time comes. So I have seeded the board with a few Doom already, and I also have been told to place a Void Touched. This is a monster. They're a lurker, which means they don't actually, they're going to stay in this area. They're not going to hunt me down. And then we have a hulking thrall here. They are a hunter, however, and so they're going to be going off the person, after the person with the highest observation, which is Norman Withers. So when they activate, that's what they're going to be doing. All right, so the first thing you do to start off the game after you have gotten your cards out in the Codex is to get some clues out there. So you're going to draw the top 3 cards from this deck here. So 1, 2, 3. And these are simply just going to tell you what neighborhoods you're going to put the clues in. So we're actually going to put 2 into the north side and 1 into the south side. So there's 1 into the south side, and then 2 way up here off camera will go into the north side. And those just go in the middle. Again, you have to go through an encounter to gain the clues. So now what I'm going to do is take these 2 cards, and we'll start with the south side. So I'll take the 2 cards from the top of the south side deck and then the 1 event card, and I will just mix them up. So now I know that there is a clue card in the top 3 of the south side. For the north side, I believe you do this one at a time. So here's the 2 I drew. Here's my event card. And so I'm shuffling these up. Okay, and now, technically then I draw the top 2 again. So these top 2 may include one of those clue cards, and there may be 2 clues in the top 3, but we know there's at least 2 clues in the top 4. So probably be headed up to the north side quite soon. The last thing we're gonna do is spread doom 1 time. So for this one, we're actually drawing from the back of the deck, the color that you cannot see. And so this one's going to go into the neighborhood of the Miskatonic Museum. And you're looking for this symbol here. So we are spreading doom in the observatory. So we'll put that doom there. And then this card goes over here underneath our fancy little card holder. And that now becomes our space with the pending doom or whatever. I forget what the term is called, but it'll be referenced by some of the monsters, some of the events. And so you can always just look back and see what's the top card sitting in the discard pile of the event deck that has that symbol. And you can, right now we know the observatory is that. Okay, so now that we have gotten the game set up, this basically becomes an action selection game. Your options are to move. Anytime you move, you can move up to 2 spaces, and you cannot move into the center. This is not an actual space, but these connecting spaces are. So to go from Ma's boarding house to the general store, that is 2 spaces. You can also pay money. It's considered like hiring a cabbie. You can pay 1 money to move an additional space, and you can actually pay up to 2 money. So you could move up to 4 spaces if you had 2 additional money to spend. You can also spend an action to just gain a money. You can spend an action to ward away doom. So this would be a lore test. You have to be in the specific location, not just the neighborhood, to ward off doom. You can engage and attack a monster. You can evade a monster, which means you're simply tricking them and then running away from them. You're distracting them so they would become exhausted and won't really do anything on their next turn. You can also research. That means you're testing your observation and then putting clues onto, at this point, we're putting clues onto the main scenario sheet. And the last thing you can do is trade any number of possessions with other people in your space. There are some cards that have the keyword action on them. For example, our spell here, Norman Withers' spell, you can see it says action. Test lore. If you pass, you may move to a space of your choice with 1 or more doom. So this is a special action that we can also take. If it says the word action, then it's going to be one of our 2 actions that we have to take. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started here. I guess probably what we want to do is, yeah, I'm going to start with Dexter Drake. He's not going to move. I do actually have a doom in this space here. So he's going to go to, he's going to stay in Ma's boarding house, and he's going to attempt to ward away the doom. So he's got 4 lore to start off with. And let's see here. Nope. Miss Sorila isn't helping. My Magician's Cane is only when I'm casting a spell. So essentially I am rolling 4 dice. Now, these are special Arkham Horror dice, and you can see that the 5 and the 6s have the Mythos symbol on them. So that's what we're looking for. Any other number where it's just a number will not be a success. To ward away this one doom, I need to roll at least one success on 4 dice. Okay, so we were successful. We have our one success right here. So this doom essentially just goes back into the box. And for, let's see here, Dexter's additional action, he's simply going to move 1 to right here. I do want to stay in this area though, in case I can get the south side. I want to head this way towards this doom, but I don't want to leave this neighborhood. So that's essentially his action. I do have this token over here on his board that I can flip, and the flashlight one simply means that at the moment he is the main player. Okay, so his token is flipped. He's done. Let's see. Mcglenn is going to do what Mcglenn does. After you perform a move action, you may deal 2 damage to one of the monsters you are engaged with and 2 damage to this card. So this is his old boiler. It's a vehicle, which essentially means he can drive this into a monster. So I can move into a space with the thrall, but I'd have to go 1, 2, 3. I'd have to spend $1, but he's got 3. I would put 2 automatic damage on to the hulking thrall, but I don't think I quite need to do that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just simply move up here, go 1, 2, 3. I will. I do have to spend $1 to get there. Now the question is, do I use my old boiler? So the hulking thrall is going to now become engaged with me. It only has 2 health, so I'm not too worried about it. The other things to note on a monster card here are their health, their modifiers. So this one has no modifiers essentially, but if this was a -1 and you were attacking it, you would roll 1 less dice. Same thing for evade. Also, this monster says after this monster attacks, you become cursed unless you spend 1 remnant, but you gain a remnant. That's what this symbol means for defeating this monster. Last but not least, if they attack you, they're going to give you 1 physical and 1 insanity. So I've now engaged with that monster, and I'm going to take my second action to attack. So I get a total of 8 attack between my Chicago typewriter and my strength. So I'm going to roll these up twice. All right, so no successes there. So this is the second half of my attack, and I got 3 successes. So that's going to be enough to take out the hulking thrall. They simply go back into the monster stack, so we may see them again. I'm going to gain a remnant token, which is way down here. Okay, so here's a remnant token, and like we said, you can spend these to do certain things. All right, so Mcglenn is done, and last but not least, Norman Withers. He's going to basically attempt to make it up the hill and get as close as he can to the north side. So he will really just go 1, 2, and then 3. Oh, do we stay in the Black Cave? 4. No. We'll go right there. All right, so at this point, Norman Withers is in the street. Okay, so all of my investigators have now taken their actions. Tessa, if you pass, you move to a space of your choice with 1 or more doom. Ooh, hold on. I did not pay attention. I had this card out earlier, and I didn't really read it that close. Test lore, which is 3. If you pass, move to a space of your choice with 1 or more doom. That would put me, I can put myself in the train station. So I can take my action here with that. Yeah, so we're on 3. We just need 1 success, and I got it right there. So I can jump way up here. Now, there's a cost to using spells. I have to take 2 insanity to use that spell. But I have this precious memento on me. It says after you gain a clue, remove 2 horror from this card, and it can accept up to 3. So I'm going to place that 2 horror I just earned on my my pendant or my memento. And hopefully now I will get a clue here in a second and take these 2 horror right off. So perfect. Okay, so I actually have an additional action now. So I guess I will simply try and ward away that doom. I have lore of 3, similar to before. And so let's just give it a shot, and we were successful. So we will get rid of this doom. All right, and everything always seems peachy at the beginning of a game, but trust me, things are going to start getting squirrely here. Okay, now all my investigators have gone. So at this point, we need to go through the monster phase. The only monster here is the Void Touched. And this one says, Lurker, each investigator suffers 1 horror. I believe that means anywhere on the board. I don't think they have to be in this location. So I'm going to have to pass out a horror to everybody here now. 1, 1, and 1. So all the more reason to get rid of them rather quickly. Okay, they're the only monster out there. We don't automatically spawn one. And so then we move on to the encounter phase. If you are engaged with a monster, you would not get to do an encounter. But since none of us are, we can simply go through these guys one at a time. So we'll start down here at South Side. And we drew this one. So you can see this one is not a clue card. So it's just going to give us an event. And we're looking for the South Church. So the South Church here says, you sit in silence of the nearly empty church. The building feels like a safe haven. Despite the crumbling walls and cracked pews, you may spend $1 to donate to the church's repair costs. If you do, you feel better knowing you have somewhere to return to. You or an ally recovers 3 sanity. Okay. So I might as well go ahead and spend the $1 to get rid of the sanity I just gained, keep myself nice and healthy. This card now goes to the bottom of the encounter stack for that neighborhood. And we now know that the clue should be within the top 2 cards. All right, then we have the Black Caves, which are in Rivertown. So there's no clue in this neighborhood, so this is just going to be a standard one. And the Black Cave here says, you hide in the shadows and watch the robed figures incant their strange ritual. You gain 1 spell. The magic seems to flow through you. Okay, so we need to test Will, which is 3 for Michael Mcglenn. You gain 1 spell. If you pass, you resist the effects and ward the area. You remove 1 doom from any space in your neighborhood. If you fail, you become cursed. Okay, so let's gain our spell first. So we simply just draw the top card from the spell deck, and we have Intervene. Once per round, while another investigator on any space is resolving a test, you may test lore -1, which would only be 1. Add your test result to the other investigator's test result. Okay, so Michael Mcglenn is simply going to hold on to this and probably pass it off to Dexter Drake here once they are sharing a space. All right, so now I need to test Will, which is 3 for Michael Mcglenn. And we passed. So we are good. I can actually remove this doom, and we are moving along swimmingly. All right, so that goes back at the bottom. And then last but not least, Norman Withers is up in North Side. Let's see if he gets it. Let's see if he gets it. Aha! Here is the clue symbol, so we know that this is one of the event cards from the deck, and we are at the train station. So down here at the bottom, it says 2 identical passengers emerge from an otherworldly portal, each claiming the other is fake. So we're gonna have to test influence, which is only 1. If you pass, you trick the mimic into revealing itself. You gain 1 ally and 1 clue from your neighborhood. If you fail, the doppelganger attacks you. You suffer 1 damage and 1 horror. Okay. So unfortunately, Norman's not the best person here to be passing influence. I was hoping it was going to be a will test. So he gets 1 lonely dice roll. Let's see what he gets. And it's a 3. So he did not pass. So I'm going to get attacked for 1 damage and 1 horror. Norman's not off to a great start. And then this card is then shuffled back into, again, the top 2 cards. So, we may have pushed the other clue card back down into the 4th slot, or it may be up here. We never know. So I do know that if I stay put at the train station, I'm going to get that one eventually, but maybe one of the other ones was better to deal with. The Curiosity Shop, would need to spend money, and the Arkham Advertiser wants remnants. So maybe Michael Mcglenn needs to move up there with his remnant. Okay. Influence. These guys both have 2 and 3 influence. Okay. All right, so we have completed the encounter phase. Last is the Mythos phase. This is the part of each round that sucks. Each investigator in turn, so I'm gonna have to draw 6 total. We'll draw 2 total tokens from my Mythos cup, but for me it's a Mythos bag. And I'll explain what each of these does here as they are drawn from the cup. Okay, so Dexter here, we'll just start at the bottom. He drew a blank, which is fine, and he drew a clue. So what we're actually going to do is put more clues out there. We simply take the next card, which just happens to be another north side card, and we add a clue to that location. So lots to do up here, and we do our typical fashion. We take the top 2 cards of the deck, and we will shuffle all these cards up. Okay. All right, so that wasn't so bad. Now, Michael Mcglenn, he's drawing a blank, and he's drawing a headline. So, these 2 are also gonna go off to the side, and we draw our top headline card. The headline card reads, Dream Expert Found Dead, Foul Play Suspected, Dr. Ephraim Zvinger, MD, PhD, dead in his home. Doctor strangled to death by his own hand? By Amelia Baxter, U Press, Boston, Mass. Okay, I probably won't read all that stuff every time. Headline, Test Will, which is 3 for Michael. You suffer 3 horror. Prevent 1 horror for each success you rolled. Ooh, that's nasty. Okay, we might lose Michael Mcglenn right off the bat here. Okay, so I only suffer 1 horror, but he actually only has 4 insanity level. So if he takes 4 insanity, I have to remove him from the game and pick a different investigator, which could just stink. So sometimes these cards stay out. This one isn't going to. There's 13 of these in the stack. If they ever run out, you simply, every time you get a headline token, you put a doom token on the main scenario card. So it's kind of like a timer in a way. You definitely don't want the headlines deck to run out. So we'll just put that over there for now. So put it back in the box. Okay, and last but not least, we have Norman Withers. He drew the other blank. I think there's only 3 blanks in the whole bag. And he drew the other headline card. So It's just kind of a boring round of Mythos, but that's fine. The next couple are going to be tough, though. Foul footprints found. Test will, which is 4 for Norman Withers, and resolve the effect based on your test results. So let's just go ahead and test 4 for Norman. And 1. Just a single pass. So you gain 1 remnant. Spawn 1 monster at the unstable space. Okay. So the unstable space we know is still the observatory. I get to gain a remnant here. And then we are going to draw our bottom monster here. Draw off the bottom of the deck. And we're going to put this one in the observatory. It is a whippoorwill. Monster beast. It's a hunter. Move toward and engage nearest investigator. Now what's interesting is if anybody was watching our Arkham Horror LCG playthrough last night, you'll know that the whippoorwills were more, they were considered aloof, kind of like the lurker here. They didn't move, they just sat there and messed with you and made life difficult. But in this game, they're actually a hunter. So just a little interesting note. Just to show you guys real quick, these are the dice that come in the game. They're actually kind of small in your hand, but you get plenty of them. I think you get 6 or 8 maybe, but they're not even close in comparison to these Arkham dice I have here. And then if I become blessed, I have these dice, which are blue and have the star symbol on 4, 5, and 6. Because blessed, if you're blessed, you can roll a success on a 4, 5, or 6. If you're cursed, you can only roll a success on a 6. They do make red dice. I just don't happen to have a pair of those or a set of those. So, okay. All right, so that is essentially the first round of the game. At this point, nothing different has happened. We're not advancing anything. This is not like Arkham Horror LCG where you're constantly putting a doom on the agenda. We simply just play again. Remember, we are attempting to either get clues to put on the main card, or if doom gets put on the main card, we have to go there. So, okay. Let's flip everybody's tokens back over. And I guess we will start with Dexter Drake here. He needs to go 1, 2, and then he definitely wants to spend his lone money left to come in here and engage the Void Touched. So we can see the Void Touched here has 2 health, no modifiers. It's going to give me a remnant. After you defeat this monster as part of an attack action, you gain 1 spell. Perfect for Dexter Drake. So let's put that there. And let's put it right there. Okay, so I've got only a 2 strength. I really need a spell that I can use to attack someone. So this could get ugly. Yeah, I don't have anything that is going to help with this. So here we go. All right, unfortunately, I was unsuccessful. So that's just going to simply stay engaged with me like that. I'm going to have to suffer 2 horror when it comes around to the monster phase. Yeah, I don't really want to have Norman Withers jump all the way over here. He simply is going to stay put. I do have a remnant now, so I'm actually going to spend my movement to go up here. And the last thing I'm going to do is, as part of an action, I'm going to focus a skill of my choice. So this is where these tokens here come into play. And I'm going to focus probably influence, just because that bit me in the butt. All right, so I essentially am giving myself +1 influence. I put this token here next to my board, or I can put it on my board, whatever makes sense. And each person has a unique focus limit. So Norman, it's 2, so I can have 2 focus tokens on my card. Michael, his focus limit is 1, so he can focus a single stat, but that's it. Dexter's is your focus limit is equal to the number of spells you have, so at the moment it's 1. All right, so Dexter unfortunately is done, and he's just gonna have to do what the Void touched on his own, I think. Yeah. Okay, so let's go up here and go 1, 2, move on to the train station, and he too will also focus. We know that one of the events deals with influence, and so we're just going to make sure our influence value is good and once per round while another investigator on any space is result. Yeah, I want to give myself influence. Okay. All right, so Michael Mcglenn is done. I guess he could have gone, wait, 1, 2, and taken care of the whippoorwill. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gonna come after me anyways. So, yeah, I'm okay with that. I want those clues that are up there. You know what I should be doing is, there, that's a little better. So you can see everybody up there. Keep talking about everybody. Okay. So, all down to Norman. Oh yeah, Norman already went. And Michael went. So everybody's gone. Okay. Monster phase. The whippoorwill is going to move toward and engage the nearest investigator, but it only has a movement of 1. So it actually just moves right there. I get to choose since the investigators are equidistance away. So he's heading towards Michael. Unfortunately, the Void Touch here is going to attack Dexter. And so Dexter's going to suffer 2 damage. Luckily, he got rid of 1 earlier, so these are the first 2 he has. Okay, and that's it for the monster phase. And then the encounter phase. So Dexter, again, since he is engaged, does not get an encounter, which is fine. There's no clues in this area. All right. Okay. All right, so let's start with then Michael in the north side, and we will draw one of the ones that is worthless to us. So this one reads, a new arrival asks you to help track down a lost Valis. You speak with Bill Washington, the old porter, about finding the bag. Test influence, which we did beef up. That's 4 for us. If you pass, Bill retrieves the lost luggage, and the stranger thanks you profusely. You gain 1 ally. If you fail, Bill is too busy to help you right now. So we can't lose, and there's no penalty here. Our influence value is 4, and we passed. We got our 1 success we needed, so we are going to get to gain an ally, and we are 1 card closer to 3 of those clues. So we just draw the top ally slot, and Grace Beckman. Paranormal Detective, you get +2 as part of a ward action. So that's not bad. She would be much better off given Dexter, because he is our ward specialist. Okay. And then last, we need to have an encounter for Norman Withers, and it is one of the clues. And he happens to be up in the Arkham Advertiser this time. So, when you step across the threshold, a creature of quivering tendrils looks up from its glass typewriter and asks you a question in an alien tongue. You gain 1 clue from your neighborhood. You may spend 1 remnant to deliver your story to the new editor. If you do, it pays with gold coins. You gain $3. Well, sure. So, I'm paying the remnants to gain 3 money. And I've officially gained a clue now. So on one of my subsequent turns, I can spend an observation action to put that onto my card. I'll probably wait till I have 2, because if you get 2 successes on your roll, then you get to put 2 clues down. So this card now gets added to the discard pile, which actually changes the thing here. I'm pretty sure. I believe it goes on top, making the Curiosity Shop the active site. Let's just double check that. Finishing an encounter. After resolving an encounter on an event card, if you gained a clue from your neighborhood, discard the card face up to the event card discard pile. Yep. Okay. So that's that. All right, so that was the encounter phase. Now the Mythos phase. And this one is probably going to suck because we used up all of our blanks and all of our easy card tokens last time. So we'll do this one at a time. This one is Spread Doom. So again, we are going to draw the bottom card here, and we are going to go in Rivertown, and we are putting it at the graveyard. Okay. Then this second one is a clue. Okay. So we are going into Uptown now, which happens to be where Drake is. And so his area gains a clue. We will shuffle this up into the top 2 cards of Uptown. And so that was Dexter. All right, so now Mcglenn. He gets the Remnant Token. So for right now, he has no cards with the Remnant symbol on it. This one simply means place 1 doom in each space with a scar, which just happens to only be the Black Cave for right now. Okay, and he's got, this is the Spawn Monster Token. So we draw the bottom monster card here. It is an Altered Servant, Human Thrall. Spawn at the unstable space, which we know is the graveyard. He looks like he belongs in the graveyard. All right, so that is Michael Mcglenn's, and then Norman Withers is going to get a Spread Doom. So we are spreading Doom at the observatory. And remember, if 3 ever go into one spot, we get an anomaly in that area. And that also advances, puts scars onto that location. So we definitely want to move over there and take care of that now. Okay, and another Spread Doom. Okay, so it's going to be in Southside, and it is at the Historical Society. Okay. All right, way down here. Okay. All right. So, back to the Investigator Phase. Let me flip all my tokens over. And what do we want to do here? Norman Withers wants to stay up there. So he definitely wants to maybe boost his observation while he's here. I think we will move around to the Curiosity Shop and boost our observation. Yeah. So pretty simple turn for him, but he's now activated. Okay. Now, Mcglenn wants to, he's actually, Grace Beckman can help him. So he's going to go 1, 2, and he's actually going to spend a, does he take care of this guy right now? Yeah, let's just take care of this guy. All right, so he moves right to there. He's going to spend $1 He's going to engage with the whippoorwill. You can see the whippoorwill is harder to evade. This monster does not restrict your actions or encounters, it moves with you. You roll one fewer die while resolving tests. So it's kind of annoying, which is rolling one fewer die, similar to what it does in Arkham, but you can see it actually does not attack me. So it would just stay with me. It only has 1 health. But on the streets here now, I've got nothing else to do, so I am going to attack it with my 8 dice. I only need 1 success, and there I got 3. Okay, so it doesn't give me anything else. So that simply goes back. That's been defeated, and yeah, I guess we're good. Yeah, I can extend my move action, but I can't spend them. You know, this isn't like Descent where I can gain a fatigue token just to move 1 space anytime. Okay, last but not least, we have Dexter Drake here. Dexter Drake, as we noted, is dealing with the Void Touched here with not a super good strength. So I think what we're going to do is actually beef up our strength. So I'm going to move to 3 dice here, and maybe we'll get lucky and get 2 successes right now. Yes, bam bam. So that's all it takes to defeat this. I'm going to gain a Remnant Token and a spell. So let's take a look at the spell first. Find Gate. So we already know what Find Gate is because Norman Withers has the Find Gate. I really wanted one that would help me with my attacks. And I gain a Remnant Token. Okay, but pretty successful round for Dexter Drake. So we've gotten rid of all the no, we haven't. Forgot about that guy. So he says he is patrolling, which means he's going to move toward the unstable space, engage most clues. Okay, so if he comes across anyone, he'll engage at the moment Norman, but the unstable space is the Historical Society, so he's going to move to 1, 2, doesn't matter, towards this space. So like I said, he just patrols and stays out of our way for now. All right, that was the monster phase. Encounter phase, this is what we're hoping for. All right, Dexter is in Uptown, so let's see what Dexter's is. It is not the clue. So Miriam Beecher agrees to teach you the meditation exercises. You focus lore, even if it exceeds your focus limit. This was just a taste, she says. I charge for the advanced classes. Reveal the top 3 spells in the deck. You may buy one of them, then put the rest on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so first of all, I get to focus lore, which a second ago would have put me past my limit, but now since I have 2 spells, unfortunately I don't have any money, so this is really just kind of cycling through the spells because I don't think any of these are free. So Flesh Ward would be an attack one, Shriveling is another attack one, and Healing Wards would be helpful, but yeah, so those 3 simply, I'll just shuffle them up real quick and they go at the bottom. This isn't a very big stack of cards, so you may see them again. All right, so not a clue. Let's get Mike Mcglenn's over with. So he's in the streets. So the streets have their own encounter card, and obviously there's never going to be any clues in the streets. And then we look at this symbol here. He's in the scenic streets, so we're going to read this bottom one. The rustling of leaves around you seems to be the whispers of an unknown god, something that dwelt here before the coming of mankind, something that will dwell here still long after mankind is gone. You scurry on, eager to get away from the trees. You may move 1 space. Perfect. That was actually quite helpful, because that's where I wanted to be. All right, last but not least, we have Norman Withers and Northside. Come on, let's see it. Yes. All right, So we've got another clue card opportunity here. He's in the Curiosity Shop. You notice a man wearing a silver Twilight Lodge ring, purchasing a collection of oddities from the proprietor, Oliver Thomas. You gain 1 clue from your neighborhood. Are you buying anything or just spying on my customers? Asks Oliver. You may buy 1 curio item from the display. Okay, so we know this card goes over here. I get to gain 1 of these clue tokens, and let's just take a look at what's over here at the display. That is a curio item. Actually, a lot of them are. So it simply said curio item, and so all of these actually have the keyword curio. So other world codex, curio tome. You get +3 as part of a ward action. That's not bad. Ooh, a knife. So this is a common curio weapon. You get +1 as part of an attack action. I do have to buy these, so I've got 4 money. So this might be helpful because he's not very, doesn't have a lot of strength. I get +1 as an evade action, so this wouldn't help with observing, but I could simply just run away from enemies. I cannot afford the pocket watch, but this one is amazing. You can perform basically 3 actions on your turn. And last but not least, the Elder Sign Amulet. Once per round, if 2 or more horror would be dealt to this card, prevent 1 of that horror. Oh, so this would be really good to give to Michael Mcglenn. Question is, do I want to waste all my money when the knife here I think is a better thing to take? So I'm going to spend $1 to gain the knife. That goes over here, and these will go back over here into the display. And I get to add 1 more card, which is a magic tomb. This will be great for Dexter. All right. Okay, and so our encounter phase is done. Now on to the Mythos phase, which I believe I know what these 2 are. So Dexter here is going to draw this one, which is a spawn monster. All right, so we have Altered Beast, which I'm pretty sure was the name of a video game. Spawn at most doom. Patrol. Move towards most doom. Engage. Okay, so unfortunately that happens to be right here. So it is going to automatically become engaged with Michael Mcglinn. Not a tough target though. Okay. We've already had the monster phase, so it doesn't attack me yet. I'll have time to take it out. And this last one is the worst one in the bag. It just so happens is the Gate Burst token. So what we're going to do now is take the top card from the event deck. So Rivertown, all we care about is the neighborhood because we have to place 1 doom in each area of Rivertown. So here's 1, here's 2, and here's 3. At this point, we have created an anomaly. Gate bursts don't always create anomalies, but it's very often that they do, unless you have really cleaned up the area. So and you're basically drawing these once every 3 rounds. Then you take this, you add it to the discard pile. We're going to take this discard pile. We're going to shuffle it up a little bit. We're going to close our eyes a little bit, and we're going to take this and we're going to add it to the bottom of the deck. Now, the reason that's important is because this now becomes pandemic style of spreading doom. The areas, you always spread clues from the top of the deck, and you always spread doom from the bottom of the deck. And so all of these cards that we have added, or locations that we've added doom to, we just reseeded to the bottom of the deck again. So we're going to be seeing those again. Like I said, it's always nice and quiet at the beginning of this game, and then the ship hits the fan. So all right, that was just Dexter Drake. So unfortunately now this bag is empty, so I take all of these tokens, so I could get another gate burst almost immediately. Okay, so this Lasting Scars card says, after an anomaly appears, if there is not a scar in that neighborhood, place 1 scar in the space with the most doom, but there already is, so we're good. All right, so that was Dexter. Now moving on to Michael Mcglenn. He gets to spawn a clue, which is nice. All right, more to the north side. So, man, Norman Withers can just hang out here up where it's quiet and continue to get clues all day. All right, let me just shuffle these up real quick. And Michael Mcglenn is drawing a monster. So another whippoorwill, spawn at the unstable space. There isn't one. So, hold on. Where do we go when there's not an unstable space? Hold on. If there are no cards in the event card discard pile, the starting space is the unstable space. Okay, so that happens to be Ma's boarding house. All right, so that was Michael Mcglenn and Norman Withers is spreading doom. So north side here, Curiosity Shop. So I'm right there. That'll give Norman something to do. And Norman is Revenant. Place 1 doom in each space with a scar. Okay, so there's already an anomaly there. So at this point, what happens is anytime if additional doom would be placed in a neighborhood with an anomaly, place that doom on the scenario sheet instead. Okay, and like we said, anytime there is 2 or more tokens on the scenario sheet, clues and or doom, flip this threshold card. So, all right, we're about to put those on here in just a second. So, all right, that was the Mythos phase. Back to player actions here. And I think this may be the last round we will play for this particular video. I'm going to cut it off after this round and we'll pick up in a second video because this game can kind of drag on a little long. So, all right. First thing we are going to do is we're going to take Norman and we are going to test observation, which is now 4, and see if we can't get a clue onto the scenario sheet. All right, we got our 1 success. That's all we really needed. So I'm going to take one of my clues, put it here, and we get to flip this card. So this says, with every moonrise, the veil grows weaker. Reality bleeds at the threshold. People and places falling through the cracks into the void between the worlds, and beyond the veil, the voice of the lurker at the threshold grows ever stronger. The Silver Twilight Lodge are as interested in these scars in reality as you. They meet in secret, burning incense and chanting in dead tongues. But are they allies or servants of the lurker? A letter comes from Carl Sanford proposing an alliance. You have discovered a means of mending the scars in the veil. Flip card 21 before continuing. Okay. This is the backside of card 21. To mend a scar, the tears in reality are not natural, nor is the remedy. Magic is the answer. Arcane rituals unique to the particulars of the scar. With the diligence and hard work, you can repair your wounded reality and perhaps keep the lurker at the threshold at bay. White markers are scars in the veil. After an anomaly appears, if there is not a scar, blah, blah, blah. Face down markers are mended scars. You may spend 2 clues from the scenario sheet to mend a scar in your space. A mended scar does not cause doom during reckoning. Okay. So I have to gain the clues. I have to get them on the scenario sheet. Then I have to go to a space with a scar and... oh, just spend an action. Okay. Continuing on this other card here. It says, any investigator may gain a dark pact to join the Silver Twilight Lodge. If you join, add cards 24 to 25 to the codex. If no investigator joins, Carl Sanford declares you an enemy of the lodge. Shuffle the set-aside lodge monsters into the deck. Add 1 monster and 1 token to the Mythos. Whether you join or not, return this card to the archive. Okay, so I think we're going to join. Let's just take a look at the Dark Pact cards here. These are all the same on this one side, but they're all different on the other side. So I'm going to just shuffle these up, draw the top one, put these back, and without looking at it, I'm just going to remind myself what is going to happen. Okay, Reckoning, roll 1 die. On a 1, your debt has come due. Flip this card. So, who do we want to give this to? Let's give this to Norman Withers, because I feel like he might be able to ward that off. But again, it only happens when that Reckoning token is drawn. I roll a single die, and if I roll a 1, then I'm screwed. Okay. I'm going to put 20 back and get 24 and 25 out. So here's 24 and 25, and 20 goes back in. Okay. So 24 reads, the Silver Twilight Lodge is pleased that you have agreed to work alongside them. They explain that a powerful being known as the Lurker at the Threshold dwells just beyond the veil and offers great power to those wise enough to listen. But we must take care not to allow the Lurker into our world, explains Carl Sanford. In particular, we must repair the scars. When a scar is mended for the first time, flip this card and read the Gathering Power effect, okay? Also says when there's 6 or more doom on the scenario, flip this card and read the Silver Key effect. Okay. And this one says Plumb the Void. As a member of the Silver Twilight Lodge, you have access to their vast knowledge of the occult. You have studied the strange tears in reality and have created a means of traveling vast distances by stepping from one plane of existence to another. It's not without its risks, admits Carl Sanford, but little that's worth doing is. Action. If you are in a neighborhood with an anomaly, you may step into the void by testing lore -1. If you pass, you traverse the universe. You may move to any space in a neighborhood with an anomaly. If you fail, you become lost in the void. You move to the unstable space and suffer 1 horror. Okay, so I don't know how helpful that's going to be, but yeah, because I'm going to try and get rid of anomalies as soon as possible. All right. So, that was just 1 action for Norman Withers. That's quite a beefy action. He's going to spend his second action to go 1, 2. He's going to spend $1 to move 3 and be prepared to take on this anomaly in the encounter phase. All right, Michael Mcglenn is here at the observatory, so he's going to take a shot at warding. He's got Grace Beckman in his aid, so he's actually getting 4 lore to do this ward activity. Oh, no, he's got the Altered Beast. Forgot about the Altered Beast. So he needs to attack the Altered Beast. Again, we're still rolling 8. Nope. No. Okay, so unfortunately I'm going to have to use my second action to take another shot at the Altered Beast here. Okay, and there we got him. Alright, so he's gone. He's giving me a Remnant for my efforts. And Michael Mcglenn has gone. Norman Withers is gone. And Dexter Drake is going to strength or will, which both of them are 2. I like him being here in the ye old magic shop, but I really don't like this just sitting around. This also means I have to spend money, and I don't really have money. So let's move up here and take a shot at, yep, warding away the doom, and we got it. Okay. All right, pretty straightforward. I actually should have gotten the 5th dice, but that's fine. Okay, so let's move on to the monster phase. This one is still going to the unstable space, but that is now the curiosity shop. It's moving 2, so it's going to go 1, 2 back up here to the graveyard. The whippoorwill moves toward and engages the nearest investigator. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So this one's moving just 1. So it goes there. Okay, monster phase over. Encounter phase. Nobody is engaged, so everybody's going to get an encounter. So let's start with Uptown here. Dexter Drake has the clue card. He is at Hangman's Hill. You disguise yourself as a cultist and spy on their ritual. You gain 1 clue from your neighborhood. Okay. Your leader starts asking you questions. Test will, which is only 2. Yeah. If you pass, he entrusts an item to you for safekeeping. You gain 1 common item. So that's nice. I can actually just gain it. If you fail, you lose your cool and flee. You suffer 1 horror. Okay, so 2 dice, looking for 1 success. Yep, there we go. We got it. So I can gain 1 common item. I don't have to purchase it. I get to gain it. So let's see. Leather coat or pocket watch. Pocket watch it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is a common curio item. This is now going to give me 3 actions. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I love it. Okay, let's replace that card with fine clothes. Pay half price. Yeah. Okay. All right, that was a really great encounter. Let's check on Michael Mcglenn at Miskatonic University. Nothing's happening over there. He's at the observatory. A group of students finds you waving a set of photographs from the telescope. You know weird stuff, they say. What do you think? Okay, we're testing lore. If you pass, you recognize the batwing shape of the fungi from Yoggoth. Gain 1 remnant. If you fail, you conclude it's a smudge. Okay, so can't hurt. I have 2 lore because this is not a ward action, and I was successful, so I gain a remnant. Very nice. These have been good encounters all around. All right, and last but not least, we are in the anomaly. So we don't actually draw over here. We draw from this one up here. Okay, and this one is how much doom is in your neighborhood completely. No, is in your space. So there's 2 to 3 in my space. You float in a void, the real world dimly visible above you as if above the surface of the sea. Test will -2. If you pass, you remember yourself and push through to your world. You remove 3 doom from your space and gain 1 remnant. If you fail, you wonder why you cannot float forever. You suffer 2 horror. So I am will -2, 2. All right. So this doesn't seem promising. And I failed. All right. So I wonder why I can't float forever. Suffer 2 horror. That's no good. So I'm up to 4 out of 7 over here. And this goes to the bottom of this stack. All right, so that was not very good. Normally, those aren't as bad. Okay, And last but not least, Mythos Phase. So starting with Dexter Drake, he's got a spawn monster. Like I said, it's always quiet at first, and then the ship hits the fan. Spawn at unstable space, which is now Hangman's Hill. Okay, so engaged with Dexter Drake here. Altered Servant. And Gate Burst. Okay, so the Gate Burst is going to occur at Miskatonic University. All right, let's take these and shuffle them back up real quick. All right. Oh, let's take the top card of the event deck. Okay. So these two should be here, and it's actually going to be Uptown. I may have done that incorrectly the first time. So Uptown's going to get them, which actually is pretty good because nothing is in Uptown up here. So boom, boom, boom. Now these get shuffled back in. Place back here. All right. Okay, so that was Dexter Drake. Let's flip his token back up. And Mcglenn, he's gonna get a blank and another blank. And Norman, he's gonna get Spread Doom. So we know North Side Curiosity Shop. Okay. And last but not least, he is blank as well. Okay, so that is the end of, I don't even know what round anymore. At this point, I'm going to stop the video here, and we will continue this playthrough and post it in a second video, hopefully getting to the conclusion of this game. But like I said, this game can go on for several hours, so I wanted to not make this video forever long. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see the second half of this playthrough or want to be part of the closing out of the half marathon to Halloween, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.